but he kills the drug dealer.
Oh yeah.
By shooting him on top of the bumper car's cage.
Yeah, it's like
which
an
electrocutes him
fencing, I
to
guess.
death.
Yeah,
yeah,
and it wasn't a bad death, like because I started ranking this as just like the creativity and some of the deaths, honestly, because the thing is you're not gonna get anything. It
has turned a bit into Paul Kersey slasher killer.
Yeah,
like, what's he gonna do next?
That does seem like where it had to go, because I mean I obviously don't agree with its stance on the whole drug war thing, so I'm just kind of in it for the pure pulp entertainment of it.
And also by '87, I feel like the war on drugs was like actually even a little bit dated at that point.
Yeah, I think so.
It was. I mean, there's even one character who's like, "Dude, drugs. Like everyone's accepted drugs into our lives
like,
at this point.
No one wants to even read about it.
Yeah.
Rich people are doing drugs. Poor people are doing drugs. Everyone's doing drugs.
Everyone likes drugs, man. No one wants
no
to.
story.
Yeah.
So
here's Bronson coming in being like, actually, remember all those old drug PSAs you watched in school?
Yeah.
Here's an X-rated version starring me.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking also on the whole the way that they have the women portrayed, as well as that editor scene, I thought that this was going to give her something this time around.
Oh, where she was going to like investigate,
right? Because there's like one scene where she kind of does like some questioning of one of the dealers, and that's it. And I thought that it was going to lead to some other things, and then I think there's like a 45-minute segment in the movie, and by the end of it, I just realized she hasn't been shown at all, and this whole subplot was completely.
She comes
nothing.
back to be a damsel in the third act.
Exactly, and it's so odd that they almost seem to have the idea to give her more than just the damsel, and then they're just like, nope. We can't really think of any other motivator, so you're the damsel again.
Yeah, no, the only other sort of interesting aspect to this is that they have more of an established... This is when they started kind of going into the realm of him not really killing like random psycho kids. This is him taking on like organized crime, which he does in both of these films, which makes it a little bit more of a bit blander, just in the fact that it's a little bit more of like a crime movie of him trying to take down like drug dealers in this one, and the next one is kind of like mafia.
Justification in the kills in this one, in these two, than the other ones, because the other ones truly were just like street crime stuff, and you're just popping them in the head and doing whatever.
Yeah, like one guy's gonna like steal someone's wallet or something.
Right, exactly. With this one, they are doing like, they all have guns. They are mob bosses. You know, there's
blowing
at least
up like chemical labs of people like producing heroin and shit.
Although, what is funny, that scene where he goes to the factory and just fucking
Uzis the shit out of
basically
it.
He gets contracted by this old guy because his daughter died from drugs, supposedly.
Which by the way, this is what I was going to mention, is that they have a villain, but that guy, did you recognize him? John P. Ryan.
Who is he?
He's the dad from It's Alive.
Oh shit! That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he did look familiar.
So that's the one thing they introduce, is that there's an actual villain in this, and you're right. It's the guy who owns like this rich guy who owns like a local paper or something, and he hires him to avenge his daughter's OD, as well as Charles Bronson's stepdaughter who has OD'd, and I think he's
taking advantage of the empathy.
Right. He says, "How many children do we let them destroy before we say enough?" I'll get you money, weapons, names, anything you want. And this is the best thing that he says. From the smallest street pusher to the fattest cat at the top.
My favorite part.
They're all murderers. Everyone connected with drugs has to be killed.
That's so good. I love that part. That's what actually, the second time I watched it, made me like the movie.
Yeah,
oddly enough, because I'm like,
that's almost a critique of the war on drugs.
I think it is. Like, the movie doesn't necessarily do that the whole time, but I think there's hints where they tried to do a few things.
It's so over the top,
because that's such an over the top statement to make. So yeah,
from the smallest street pusher,
like just the dude selling like a 40 bag to your friend. Like, it's just,
he deserves execution.
Destroy him, that devil lettuce.
But anyway, you continue with what you were talking about.
Oh yeah. So yeah, he gets hired to go to like 4 different kind of like gangs or whatever to kill them off, so that the drugs are off the streets, supposedly. And he goes into the factory, and I just find it funny that he never really sets up who these people are. As far as you know, like, yes, they are, you know, working in the drug industry, and they are like putting the drugs in and all that. But as far as you know, they're just guys that were hired because they're, whatever, down on their luck. They needed the money. They're in a bad situation.
Yeah, especially the guys in the
labs. But it
labs.
never dives into that. So instead, you just have to watch him just start shooting all of these people. And because the movie has them bring out guns too, that's the justification, which I always find funny. They're like, but they brought out a gun first.
Yeah.
So they're, it was self-defense.
That's how you know.
He's a hero.
Exactly.
And I just always found that funny. They do that multiple times, but the factory is one that really stood out to me. Because he even ends up throwing a brick of dynamite into the fucking room. and because of his very
there's
stoic,
blood squibs and everything as he's like oozing them down.
And because of his very stoic and kind of bland performance, he does all of these crazy things with such like a blank face, and it really does add to like a bit of comedy because he's just doing it by the numbers. He's like, throw the dynamite.
Writing is like pretty stiff. It really needs like an actor like bringing it to life.
Right, exactly.
And Bronson, I mean, he
doesn't really bother.
He's 66 when he made Death Wish 4. He's 72 when he made fucking Death Wish 5.
That's impressive. Holy shit.
So you can tell that
I didn't think he was in his
tired.
70s.
He's not really trying with the takes anymore.
No.
So the thing
he's definitely phoning this in, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, like when he goes undercover as like the bartender and he spies them like murdering the underling, like the mafia guys.